Aaron Jackson talking tough on the drive. That was yesterday, right after a Red Sox win on Maine Sports Leader 92.9 The Ticket. And now we have reached the end of the week, Friday afternoon, and we are coming to you live from 1105 Hammond Street in Bangor. It is the home of the new Freshies location. Got a lot going on here today. We got two UMaine coaches, two of the best in the business. Ben Barr with UMaine Hockey, Amy Vachon with UMaine Women's Basketball. This Freshies location, outstanding. Just a huge, I'm peeking through the window right now, a huge convenience store inside. We got gas, we got a car wash here as well. So stop on out and see us, because not only can you meet Ben Barr, Amy Vachon, if you haven't done before, or you just want to say hi, you can win some great prizes here at Freshies this afternoon. Welcome into the drive on this Friday afternoon. Jim Churchill with you from Freshies on Outer Hammond Street in Bangor. We got Mark Paulette back in the Greenway Equipment Studios, brought to you by Greenway Equipment Sales, your locally owned John Deere dealer. See the Smith Brothers in Bangor and elsewhere, because nothing runs like a Deere. And we are presented by Next Home Experience, the market leader. Get looped and get sold with Next Home Experience. We just had a winner. Everybody's got the other thing I should mention here, Mark, is we have Freshies whoopie pies here, and people are literally gobbling them up right now.
It sounds like quite the scene over there. I don't know if you've got like a crowd mic jacked up, or this is just, you're in a swarm of people over there.
There is a swarm of people around me. I do have two other headsets with me that I probably could tone down just a little bit here.
It's kind of like, you know, when you're watching the Red Sox or something, and there's that one dude just parked next to a hot mic, or one of the mics in the stands, and you're only hearing him scream over and over again. That's kind of what it sounded like the first couple of minutes.
All right. Well, we've toned it down, but we will certainly bring the flavor of the situation here at Freshies this afternoon. Again, 1105 Hammond Street, Outer Hammond Street in Bangor. Great new location. We got all kinds of UMaine athletic staff here as well. Bananas is going to make an I Bananas will be out here shortly.
Today, man. It's going to be hot inside that suit on a day like today.
Yes. And I had a chance to talk with Bananas, in quotes, a few moments ago, and he was thinking about that same thing on this very hot day, and there's not a lot of shade right now. They do have a Black Bears canopy here, which I am enjoying, along with the prize wheel here. But, Bananas, he's going to have to be out in the sun a little bit here today, and we will see how he handles it. So coming up in today's show, we will talk with Amy Vachon. She'll join us right around 4:15. Ben Barr, UMaine hockey coach, will join us right around 4:45. We got a Sports Center weather forecast. Mark in the Greenway Equipment Studios. We'll be checking with Bill Koch from the Providence Journal on the suddenly red-hot Red Sox, who, Mark, I should mention, let me finish with the rundown here, and then we'll circle back with Coach Vachon and Coach Barr in the second hour. We got a drive poll, we got Sox talk, we got Sox props, and so much more come your way here on this Friday edition of The Drive. But Red Sox having some issues, some travel issues getting out of Chicago. What else could go wrong?
I know. I am loading the browser, refreshing it every second here to see if the Red Sox have touched down in New York, because as of basically an hour, 90 minutes ago, they were still in the city of Chicago, stuck there overnight after sweeping the White Sox yesterday. There were numerous mechanical issues with the planes. The JetBlue plane was stuck on the tarmac there. They're still planning on getting to New York and playing the game tonight at 7:15, but the idea is that they're going to be landing at about 4:30 or so. Granted, the airport is basically next door to Citi Field, so they can get right over, but still off the plane and onto the field in the span of 3 hours potentially tonight for the Sox.
Well, how could we doubt the little engine that could? They'll find a way, Mark. They are, what is the word we hear all the time now? Resilient. Having won 6 in a row.
A super fun summer that has been. We heard that in the post game yesterday. Aaron and I both looked at each other and we're like,
super fun.
It's been a good 2 weeks here. They have won 11 of 13. They have their deficit against the Yankees. Granted, they're still 7 games behind them in the division and have a fourth of the American League between them and the third wild card. But, they're winning ball games, so you can't hate on it.
Yeah, I mean, they're somewhat interesting, and they're making some Red Sox fans feel somewhat optimistic about getting into a wild card position. Who knows in the American League? I mean, that has been their saving grace to this point, is that the American League sucks.
Real bad.
It's you just look at the standings, and it just hits you. I mean, the Red Sox, as bad as they have been, think about this, as bad as they have been, as bad as their offense has been, they're one of maybe 5 teams who's a plus in the plus-minus, maybe 6. It's not many.
6 in the AL, and they're one of them.
Wow. There's not a lot of green, and, just think about that with the way this Red Sox season has gone. So while the Red Sox wait on the tarmac, or they're in the air, Mark? Have we confirmed that?
Yeah, we believe that they're in the air. They're expected to touch down at 4 or 4:30, so it should be right around now that they're making it to New York.
Okay, not a super long trip from Chicago.
Quick update. 4:50 is now their landing time at LaGuardia.
Oh.
So you're within 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours of first pitch that they're potentially landing.
Should have a tailwind coming from Chicago there. Let's just to finish up on the Red Sox trip so far. Let's give us the final call from their win over Chicago yesterday afternoon. Prior to the drive, a 2-1 win. The pitching continues to be good for the Red Sox.
Willie getting a little fired up there. 6-0 going into the break. They still have 3 more to play, but forget about that.
This is the problem. Though. Like I wasn't listening or watching before, and I definitely can't now because everybody's just going to get carried away. I mean, they took on the Angels. Okay, now again, they're playing on the road, but they've been a better road team than a home team. They took on the Angels. They swept them. Yeah, I mean, the Angels are terrible, though. The Angels are terrible. Now, the White Sox, a surprise team this year. Where are they in the standings, Mark? Second in the AL Central?
After the sweep, they got dropped down to second.
Yeah. So they've been a surprise, but their record, it's not off the charts by any stretch. Yeah, so they're a 500 team. And now they're going to play the Mets, who are not quite as bad as the Angels, but they are terrible. And so, yes, if the Red Sox are to have a chance for a wild card spot, they did need to have a great 9 days on the road prior to the All-Star break. So far, so good. But they got to finish the deal. And that's been the case in a lot of these series where we thought maybe they were turning the proverbial corner and then they would lose the final game of the series when it looked like they should sweep, or they'll win 4 in a row and they'll lose the last 2 games of a 3-game series. So got to finish the deal. Again, the pitching has been outstanding. Now, Ranger Suarez on the IL right now, but Sonny Gray has been great. And here's the other problem, Mark. And these young pitchers have been outstanding, too. Of course, Conley Early right now on the IL as well. But Jake Bennett has been, his numbers, Mark.
Fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Especially the last, 3-4 starts. The guy's been lights out.
Throwing strikes, striking out people. So they have been great. Chapman, the bullpen overall has been very good. But, yeah, I mean, they gotta finish it. They got to hit in the All-Star break with that momentum. And then they got to try to pick up where they left off, if that is the case coming out of it. The other problem here, Mark, that I see for the future of the Red Sox is that this little spurt, and we'll see if it continues, but this is where I have no faith in Craig Breslow, who's trying to save his job in some respects, and the Red Sox leadership is they're going to be deluded. They're going to look at the American League. They're going to say, hey, we just got to get in the tournament. We get in the tournament, anything can happen. That's been proven. And they're not going to make the right decisions come the trade deadline, which is still a few weeks away. But that's my other concern.
Yeah, a little over 3 weeks away because I think it's August 3rd this year. Sonny Gray, it sounds like the Braves are having some interest in him. They're kind of the first team that I've seen to really pop up. The other guys, Contreras and Chapman, I haven't heard anything on them recently. Contreras, Jeff Passan actually wrote that he doesn't expect him to get traded because of the money going forward. He's got 2 more years of control, so he thinks that if the Red Sox believe they're going to compete next year, he's a crucial guy to try to hold on and build around, but they're more than a Wilson Contreras away from competing, I feel like. You kind of got to maximize the value when you have it to get back into true contention, which does require spending money, getting uncomfortable, doing all these things that they haven't shown they really want to do recently.
Yeah. So, unfortunate situation for Roman Anthony, who has now been, I guess, banished to Fort Myers, Florida.
That's how the Boston media is making it sound.
Right. And is it a little bit of a punishment for the highly touted youngster? We shall see. Obviously, has not played a lot this year. When he did, he was not good. But when I hear, and I'm not saying it was your words, Mark, you're probably just reading other people's words, but build around Wilson Contreras. Now, he could be part of a group, a so-called core from this year's team to build around, or I would say add to.
Yeah, you add to that
fill
team.
in.
Wilson Contreras is a good six hitter on a team that's trying to win the World Series.
Yes. That would be a very good lineup if he's your number 6 batter. But we'll see. Again, a lot to go down here before we get to the trade deadline or close to it. But the Red Sox at this point still should be sellers. I mean, if they get to 500, say by the trade deadline late July, I think the deadline is August 2nd, if I remember correctly. But if they get to the deadline and they're 500, I know right now they're 2.5 games or something like that out of the last wild card position. But if they're status quo, just say they're still 2.5 out, they've improved to 500. Does that change anything for you as far as the direction? A potential Sonny Gray, Chapman, those two primarily as being trade bait that could bring a pretty good return.
I mean, it's tough because you look at the wild card standings right now, and if they get to 500, they're the third wild card team because that's where Seattle's at, 47 and 47. Cleveland has the second wild card. They're only 2 games over 500 at 48 and 46. So the path to the playoffs is wide open. But when it comes to competing there, I don't have any confidence in this lineup or really this team to do anything more than a repeat of last year, which is you ride into the postseason trying to scrap together runs, and then you realize the importance of the 3-run home run when your lineup goes silent.
The Drive is brought to you by Heroes Sports Grill and Entertainment Center. Heroes is the place to be in downtown Bangor and at heroesportsgrill.com. Also brought to you by Bangor Mall Cinemas, Greater Bangor's favorite hometown theater for over 40 years. Bangor Mall Cinemas features luxury recliners and an upgraded food menu. Find showtimes and reserve your seat at your neighborhood theater.com. And we are brought to you by Casella. Good pay, good people, good life. Find your place at powerofhardwork.com. Again, a reminder, we are broadcasting live from the new Freshies, 1105 Hammond Street in Bangor, Outer Hammond Street. Stop on out and see us. We've got Amy Vachon here. We've got Ben Barr here, representing UMaine women's basketball and UMaine hockey as leaders of those programs. We've got some women's basketball players here as well. A lot of other UMaine athletic staff on board here today at Freshies. Bananas is going to be here. We got whoopie pies right to my right. I have not reached out and grabbed one. We also have this outstanding prize wheel here where we have women's basketball tickets up for grabs. We got a Bare Necessities fan shop prize. We got a pair of Portland Sea Dogs tickets. August 14th is UMaine Day down at Hadlock, so we got tickets there. We've got some UMaine athletic glasses, meaning glasses you drink out of, and we have a pair of women's ice hockey tickets, and you get an extra entry potentially into the Maine men's hockey VIP raffle, and we'll talk more about that coming up here in the show today. But some outstanding prizes you can win here at Freshies this afternoon, so stop on by, enjoy a whoopie pie, and have a chat with some of the UMaine staff here, and it's a great afternoon to be here at Freshies, and we are happy to be here. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll check in with Maine women's basketball coach Amy Vachon right here on The Drive. Welcome back to The Drive here on this Friday afternoon. Again, coming to you live from the new Freshies, 1105 Hammond Street in Bangor, Outer Hammond Street. Got all kinds of things going on here. Got some UMaine women's basketball players on hand. We got a couple of outstanding coaches who are going to join us. Amy Vachon will be with us here in a matter of seconds. We got a prize wheel. We got whoopie pies. What else could you ask for, Amy?
Not a lot, and a beautiful day to boot.
That's right. You now have a big glass of water there to enjoy.
I do.
The Drive is presented by your local family-owned McDonald's on Main Street and Union Street in Bangor, Wilson Street in Brewer. And we're also a partner with UMaine Athletics. This fall, it's time to pack the stands at Alphon Stadium and cheer on Maine football. Season tickets are now on sale. They give you the best value in the best seats for every home game. Visit goblackbears.com/tickets. And we know one team that packs the stands at the pit is UMaine women's basketball. Amy, let's start by talking about your summer. What does summer look like? I know you've got some camps going on at various times, but what does the summer look like for the Maine women's basketball coach?
Yeah, so June is pretty quiet. It's nice, and like when we get nice weather, we always enjoy it in June because it's pretty quiet. We go recruiting a little bit, but not that much. July really picks up. Our freshmen typically, and they did again this year, move in this Sunday after the 4th.
Yeah.
So we have 2 of our freshmen on campus, and we have a couple of other players, our Mainers really, that are here that are working out. So we're doing workouts with them already. We'll go out recruiting this weekend. Coach Tom Biskup and I will go out on the road, leaving early tomorrow morning, go recruiting, and then we have a camp at the end of July, and then the rest of our players will be here. So it's on now.
There you go.
Yeah.
So when you're recruiting in the summer, I'm sure most people know, but you're visiting some of these tournaments and things that are going on and checking out some of the talent.
Yeah. So how it works with basketball is there are certain weekends throughout the summer that they're called AAU teams in basketball, and they go and play in different tournaments. And so actually it started today where college coaches could be out watching, and so we'll go out. We have some specific players that we're already on and recruiting we'll watch, and then some other kids might catch our eye or that kind of thing. So yeah.
So, not asking who those particular players are, but how does that process work? How do you filter down to the names that you're focused on?
Yeah, a couple different ways. A lot nowadays there are a lot of lists that are out there, so you might do that. We've had players who have emailed us, and so then we'll go watch, and we're like, oh, the kid's pretty good.
Yeah.
So that way, coaches, and then
referrals.
Referrals, or you might go and watch one kid, and then you see another kid, that you like. A lot of different things like that. Yeah.
And let's take a look back to last year. How would you characterize that season? I know you have high standards, obviously, but how would you characterize how that season played out?
Yeah, I felt like we grew a lot as a team. I mean, everyone knew that we had Addie, and
right.
That she was the centerpiece of really everything we did. And, I mean, if you watched us play our first game versus, well, maybe not our last game because we didn't play very well, but the semifinal game, we really improved a lot. And so I was really proud of our team for that. Obviously, we graduated one of the best players ever to play a game. So that was, really fun to watch her grow in her career. And so I think it was a learning experience for a lot of our players who didn't play a lot. We have 10 kids returning, and not a lot of them, a few of them played a lot, but not a lot. So there's a lot of time up for grabs. But, as far as last year, our goal is to win the championship every year. We know it's not going to happen all the time, but to get back to the championship game. And look, we ran into Vermont was the best team all year. I really believe that, and they showed it in that game. We did not play great, and they did, and so it made it even worse. I think if we both played great, honestly, I think they were the best team. But I was pleased with our season.
Now, you're not going to have Addie next year, obviously, but you have a little practice with that because you experienced a season without her.
Yeah.
And just how can that help you moving forward? Because she was obviously a huge part of your team's success.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I said, we have 10 returners. They had a great spring. I think there's a lot of excitement within our team about all the opportunities that is there. We lost 3 starters who 2 of them played pretty much 40 minutes a game, and the third one played 35. So it's a lot of minutes,
Coach.
A lot of minutes, and so it's at one point you can look at it and be like, oh my goodness. But on the other hand, it's a lot of time for someone to win. And every year someone steps up. We lost Blanca. Someone stepped up. We lost Ann. Someone stepped up. Yep. So when we lose Addie, someone's going to step up, and so it'll be exciting to see who it is. Now,
you mentioned 10 players returning. I'm not going to ask you to list all 10. You can if you want to, but I don't want to put that kind of pressure on you. But just talk about the core that's coming back and kind of how they fit into UMaine women's basketball, kind of your philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have, Lala Woods, who came on and had a great freshman year. So hopefully she's had a great summer. We're excited to see her when she comes back in a couple of weeks. Some people might remember Kalia Sane who played for us early in the season and then went down with a season-ending injury. She's very talented and is feeling really good, so we're excited to see her back. Yeah. Lizzie Gruber has had a great spring and summer. I think she learned a lot last year, and I think she's ready to have a great year. And then we have a really deep sophomore class, and I'm excited to see what they've done. That's a big jump. Like we always tell them, between freshman and sophomore year, that can be a really big jump for you.
Right.
And I'd put Maddie in that class too.
Is it a make or break situation, kind of?
I don't know if it's a make or break, but a lot of people take huge jumps in that year.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't from sophomore to junior or even junior to senior, but that's what we've seen in our program, and is people make big jumps that year. So Maddie Fitzpatrick is in that group too. Last year was like her freshman year, and she looks really good. So, and then Emmy Streams is our only senior.
Yeah.
So,
wow. Emmy Streams is a senior?
She's a senior.
Stop
I know,
it.
isn't that crazy?
Wow.
So, so we're excited. We're excited about the new kids coming in, and it'll take some time to figure everything out. But, yeah, we're excited.
So you mentioned there 3 Mainers in Gruber, Fitzpatrick, and Streams.
Yep.
Just from a recruiting standpoint, that's got to be part of the overall strategy, I would say, is to get the best out of the state of Maine.
Yeah, we also have Bailey Breen and Izzy Allen, so we have 5 Mainers on our team. I hope I'm not missing one. I don't think I am. We want to keep the best player in Maine that we feel is every year there's a best player in Maine, right? There always is. That doesn't mean they can always play at Maine. Right. So we want, if there is a kid who can play at Maine and she's the best player in Maine, we want to try and keep her in Maine as much as we can. We've been successful at that in the last few years.
So you're on campus a lot, obviously, doing your job, many days of the month and the week. How often do you look to the construction and just salivate about what can be? Yeah. Understanding you love the pit and the atmosphere that's there, but that's got to be, especially to some of the more recent people that you're looking at or you'll be talking to, that's got to be a pretty decent hook.
Yeah, it's hard not to see it when you drive to campus. For anyone who's been up, our campus is kind of like a war zone right now, but it's so exciting because all of the construction that's going on, and every day you look at where Morse Arena is going to go up, and you can see a little bit more and more, and so it's really exciting. That's all I can say. Like, parking's kind of a crazy right now because there's so much construction. But the good news is,
and a reminder, school is not in session.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, it's to see the work they're doing with the parking and how that's going to. People are like, we're not losing any spots. Like, it's really
they're
really
picking up
cool.
Some new ones.
And it's just awesome. It's just amazing, and we couldn't be more excited.
And just the general feel within the athletic department. It's got to be the momentum that's there with the facilities and with the success of many of the teams. It's just got to make you, as a grad of the University of Maine and now a coach and former player, obviously, it's just going to make you so proud to see what's going on.
Yeah, it is. And
feel it, tangible.
You can. And it starts with our leadership. It starts with Jude Killey, and then President Freeney Mundy and our chancellor as well. And the vision that they have. Look, it's a hard time in college sports right now, and it's volatile, and it seems like every day something's different. And the support that they give us as coaches and student athletes, and really striving to be top 5 in Greater New England, is something that we really believe in as a department, and each of our programs take it very seriously. And when you look at just look at the facilities alone, you can see that's true.
That's a transformation.
It is transformation.
It wasn't that long ago where we were just kind of downtrodden.
Yeah,
because
it's
there wasn't a lot of hope.
I have classmates I went to Maine with, and they come back and they just can't even believe what they're looking at. It's really cool. I didn't go to school that long ago. I did. Right. It was a while, but it wasn't that long.
Not yesterday, but
definitely not
that
yesterday.
Far. Not that far.
Definitely not.
All right. Well, Coach, I've been told you're going to be here all 2 hours.
That's what they tell me.
So you've got to make an appearance in each hour. But we appreciate your time here in the 4 o'clock hour.
All right.
Enjoy the fans who are coming out here, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.
All right. That is UMaine women's basketball coach Amy Vachon joining us here on The Drive. We are coming to you live from the new Freshies at 1105 Hammond Street in Bangor, outer Hammond Street. Got a lot going on here. Stop on by. Bananas is here. We got Ben Barr here, UMaine hockey coach. Of course, Amy Vachon, some UMaine women's basketball players. We got whoopie pies. That should be enough, but we also have a prize wheel here where you can win some great prizes. And again, the grand prize is that VIP UMaine men's hockey experience, and you can be entered to win that VIP experience here this afternoon. The Drive is brought to you by Dean's Detailing, the leader in auto detailing for over 55 years. Renew your vehicle's appearance, protect your auto investment, look good and feel good in a clean, shiny car. Book your appointment at deansdetailing.com. Also brought to you by Dairy Queen in Old Town. The DQ $7 chicken strip meal deal has it all. 100% white meat, seasoned chicken strips, full-size fries, a drink, and a DQ Sunday to boot, all for just $7. Visit 613 Stillwater Avenue in Old Town. All right, when we come back, we're going to take a break from here at Freshies, outer Hammond Street in Bangor. And Mark is going to be talking with Bill Koch on the Heroes Hotline. We'll have Ben Barr, UMaine hockey coach, joining us at right around 4:45 here on The Drive.
Welcome back into The Drive, giving Jim and the crew over there at Freshies on Outer Hammond Street a break. You can stop on by, hang out with University of Maine hockey coach Ben Barr, University of Maine women's basketball coach Amy Vachon. Bananas is also on site over there. You got a chance to win all kinds of tickets and great prizes. Once again, that's Freshies on Outer Hammond Street in Bangor. But right now, we're back in the Greenway Equipment Studios because it is time for me to head to the Heroes Hotline to welcome in our next guest. That would be Bill Koch from the Providence Journal. And Bill, we got some breaking news. I'll cut the sounder right there because it's not that breaking, but the Red Sox just landed. They have arrived in Queens. It appears we have a baseball game coming our way tonight.
Allegedly, we do. The Red Sox were stuck in Chicago after their series finale with the White Sox and had all sorts of travel delays with an airline carrier who will remain nameless just in case they're a sponsor of the show.
They're not, don't worry.
But anyone who looks it up on social media, you'll be able to figure out which airline carrier that is. So it could be a tired bunch of Bostonians rolling into Queens tonight for a 3-game set with the Mets.
Yeah, I'm wondering, do you travel in uniform there? Because they are rolling off the plane, and in less than 2.5 hours, first pitch is being thrown there at Citi Field.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know how their roster splits up in terms of, guys out of high school or guys out of college or international signings, but at the very least, for some of those guys, this could have a throwback feel where you sort of take the bus to the field. You don't really get much time to warm up. You're putting your pants on maybe while you're in the back row, and maybe getting some food down, some liquid down while you're on the bus. This could have, a little bit of a high school, college, minor league feel for some of those guys tonight.
Well, the Mets have certainly had that kind of a feel for most of the season, and the Red Sox did as well up until the last 13 games, where they've won 11 out of those 13. They've got 6 in a row, which is now a new season-best win streak. The offense, other than yesterday's season finale that they ground out a 2-1 victory in, has come to life over this win streak. Is it sustainable, Bill?
I think that depends on what you believe, Mark. I think if you believe that these last 13 games are who this team really is, then you're really going to lean into that and feel good about their future. If you subscribe to the larger sample, the first 75, 80 games, and you think that's who they are, then you're still going to want to be a seller at the deadline. So I think it's a matter of perception. And I'm going to be really curious to see the messaging that comes out of the Red Sox front office here over the next couple of weeks. I know we've heard from Chad Tracy, and he feels like that they've made some substantive changes, and they've got some guys going who maybe were struggling earlier. Obviously, they have some guys playing in place of some guys who were struggling earlier, who were either injured or no longer in Boston. So it is a really fascinating debate about which team you really think this is and how they should proceed going forward.
Yeah, speaking of Chad Tracy, these Chad Sox, after the recent win streak, now 33-31 overall since he took over. The team is 26-21 away from Fenway this season. There are certainly some impressive numbers to pick out of what they have done so far, even though the fact that they are 5 games under 500. For instance, they are 35-11 when they allow 3 or fewer runs. So that's the run prevention model that we were sold on coming into the year. The other side of that is they're 7-35 when allowing 4 or more. So that certainly speaks to the offense. And how do you think Craig Breslow perceives this right now? Because coming into the year, I just stated what he said, right? Run prevention. They're starting to do it a little bit, but they also have, if they want, some pretty nice chips to use on the trade market coming up next month.
I think that depends on what you believe Craig Breslow's job security currently is. If he's hearing from ownership that he is safe, then he may act a little more prudently at the trade deadline than if he hears that he's on the hot seat and he better make the playoffs or else. That could influence his decisions. I certainly think that Sam Kennedy also could be having similar conversations with ownership. I don't necessarily know that they'd look to make a change in terms of his position and reassign him within the organization, but he has presided over, multiple regime failures here now over the last, approaching a decade here. So there are some nervy times there, certainly in the Red Sox front office, and certainly there's a lot of pressure on that group to try to make it to October. It's more attainable now than it has been, at any point over the last couple months. Their playoff odds are much better than they have been at any point. So I really think it depends on how they see this team and how they see their own personal safety in their jobs.
Yeah, the win streak has them positioned 2.5 games out of that third wild card spot, though I believe there are still 3 teams in between them and Seattle who currently owns that third wild card. Talking with Bill Koch from the Providence Journal on the Heroes Hotline, and Sean McAdams speaking in recent days, said that John Henry is frustrated with the situation. He is aware of everything. He's hearing it all. And when that's the case, he tends to be reactionary. I'm not sure what kind of reactionary move there is to make at this point in the season other than trying to add in a big way at the deadline. But if that's the case, there's so many teams around baseball that believe they're in it or are in a similar situation to the Red Sox. Who is out there that's being talked about as trade deadline acquisitions for teams looking to buy to go after?
Well, it's fascinating. I mean, you look at the Tigers who've had a similar situation to the Red Sox to this point, and they were looking at being sellers and possibly dealing Tarek Skubal, and now, Detroit's on a run. And there were some rumors out there in baseball, whether it's Ken Rosenthal or others, saying that Detroit might now be a buyer. So if you're a team that's clear playoff team, Skubal might be off the market. That might affect who you try to go get. I certainly think that if you're the Red Sox, you need to be looking for a bat. You need to be looking for another leverage bullpen arm. Those tend to move frequently at the deadline. So if you want to get into the relief market, I certainly think that you would be able to do that. But I certainly think that their offense continues to need upgrades, and whether that's at second base or whether or not that's at DH, if you want to bring someone in who is a more permanent option, or if you want to bring in a first baseman and maybe make Wilson Contreras that option as a DH. They certainly need more beef in the lineup. They're pitching very well. They've managed to piece it together without Garrett Crochet, without Brian Bayo, 2 guys who are in their opening day rotation. But you just wonder how much longer they can win 3-2 and 4-1. You'd like to have some thump offensively. You'd like to have a few more avenues to victory. And so I think that, if they are going to add, I'd like to see some relief help, and I'd still like to see an impact bat.
Do you think the third wild card is good for the sport of baseball? Because you look at the American League right now, and it's a lot of teams in the Red Sox neighborhood who are 5, 6, 7 games under 500, but like one sweep away from getting right back into contention there.
Yeah, I am probably not the person to ask because I'm very much a traditionalist. I sort of liked it when there was 1 wild card and 2 playoff series. I thought it was really interesting then. Really added some urgency to the regular season, and it really made the trade deadline a lot more cut and dry. The teams who sold decided to do so pretty early, and the teams that bought generally bought pretty decisively. That's how you get those big moves. Like, I remember I was in the room, at Fenway Park in the media room, I think when Zach Greinke got traded to the Astros, and it was right before the deadline, and Cora's at the podium, and it's like, wow, the Astros just got Zach Greinke, and it was. It was, you're looking at that and you're thinking, there are big moves here. There are big names moving. You think back to earlier in the 2010s when Justin Verlander moved and David Price moved and You've got big names out there, superstars, future Hall of Famers moving at the deadline. We don't necessarily see those sort of seismic transactions anymore, and I think that's because a lot of teams feel like they're in the middle, or they've sold out for this sort of 5-year sustainability venture capital model. And it's taken a little bit of the excitement away from not only the playoff chase, but also what we're about to see here at the end of July, the start of August.
I am right there with you. Could not have said it any better myself. Lastly, before we let you go, Bill, Roman Anthony has been transferred down to Florida to continue his rehab. Boston media has been running wild kind of with speculation if there was an underlying message there, or, this is kind of you're enjoying Boston life a little too much. Go down to Fort Myers and get ready to get back to baseball. I've heard all these things in recent days. How do you read that situation?
Yeah, first, I don't know what Roman Anthony's doing off the field. I'm not friendly with him. I'm not in his social circle, so I wouldn't want to make any assumptions. But I would say this. The Red Sox have certainly invested heavily in Roman Anthony. They've given him an extension that bought out his arbitration years and that made him a 9-figure millionaire. And with that comes a responsibility. Now, there's been miscommunication between the organization and between Anthony regarding his injury. And, I'm not necessarily going to assume how he feels either, whether or not he could be playing or isn't playing or whatever else. What I would say is that he owes it to them to do everything possible to get himself ready to potentially return. And if the organization feels like he's not doing that and they decided to change his scenery, that's an issue. That speaks to professionalism. You want to think that he is rehabbing with full zeal, with his full attention, and that he's not necessarily in the mode of thinking, well, I'm not playing, so I'm just going to enjoy being 21, 22. I would understand the temptation. I would not understand the bank account, but we've all been there at some point. His circumstances just happen to be a lot different than ours, and you're seeing it play out maybe a little more publicly than the Red Sox and Anthony would have liked.
He's Bill Koch of the Providence Journal. Well, Bill, we always appreciate the time you take for us here on the show. Thanks for providing some insight on the Sox. We now know that they have landed. It looks like they're getting ready for a game tonight in Queens against the Mets, and enjoy yourself a nice July weekend coming your way.
Mark, thank you. Get yourself across that river once you sign off.
I know. I'm missing out on all the fun back here, aren't I?
You are.
Oh, well. All right, Bill. Thank you again, and have a good one. That is Bill Koch on... Bill Koch joining us from the Providence Journal. It is about time to send it back across the river. As you just heard from Bill right there, we got Jim over at Freshies on Outer Hammond Street in Bangor. He is getting ready to be joined by Ben Barr coming up in the next segment. First, we got to get you a sports center and a weather forecast, and then send it back across the river.
Welcome back to The Drive. Jim Churchill coming to you live from the new Freshies on Outer Hammond Street in Bangor, 1105 Hammond Street to be exact. It is a UMaine Athletics event here. We talked with Amy Vachon earlier in this hour. We're going to talk with Ben Barr here in just a moment. The Drive is presented by Next Home Experience, the market leader. Get looped and get sold with Next Home Experience. Also brought to you by Acadia Federal Credit Union, their newest location now open on Wilson Street in Brewer, serving Maine since 1963 with branches in Bangor, Brewer, and Aroostook County. Learn more at acadiafcu.org. We have Ben Barr here, and one of his 3 children, Brooks, is standing by. Brooks had the headset on, didn't necessarily want to go on live. We may be able to entice him here shortly.
We might get him to do it.
We might be able to make it happen.
You never know.
No, he says no. He's emphatic about it. All right, hey, Ben Barr, UMaine hockey coach, joining us here. And you were asking me how my summer has gone. How's your summer gone?
It's been good. Yeah, it goes quick once our kids leave in May, and then when the weather turns, it feels like the weather turns in mid-June or early July this year. And then all of our student athletes are coming back now. But it's been good. Yeah. It's beautiful in Maine at this time of year.
Just going to describe the 12-month, the ebbs and flows of your workload, so to speak.
Yeah, so we have our season, obviously.
Yep.
It really kind of, our players, most of our team will be back by Sunday, so we're not on the ice. It's not like we can't be on the ice with them, but they're around all day, every day, training in the mornings, and then they're on the ice with the skills coaches during the day. So we're around. So you kind of get going in mid-July, and you go all the way through, March or hopefully April. Your season goes into that, and then it's then it becomes free agency time in our world, and you deal with that stuff for about a month or a month and a half, and then it kind of quiets down maybe around May, June for a little bit, and then you go back at it again.
Yeah, I know you've been asked this many times, but just talk about that free agency period that you mentioned, and just from obviously you've been in the coaching world a while, and just how different it is these days.
Yeah, it's really different. I mean, it's
reality.
It's reality. So I don't think it's every program and school has a different probably take and different perspective on it based on where you're at in the big picture of college sports. And so you're just trying to kind of like figure out like what worked for us or Amy or whoever for for 20. I did things one way for 15, 20 years, and then you're kind of okay, you have to rethink it. You want to still be able to do the same, hopefully run the similar type of principles and culture and whatever, but it's so you have to find a way to do that in the new world, and that's kind of the challenge a little bit.
You said figure it out. What, over the course of your head coaching career here at the University of Maine, from when you started, what have you learned the most, and what has had the most impact on your coaching?
Well, I think what we learned as far as what's unique to University of Maine hockey is just how special we have it up here. I think I'm still learning what the next phase of the NCAA world is going to be like, and that's what we're, and we're trying to figure that out as fast as we can in order to stay,
at least even
where we want to be, and we want to be a national contender every year. And how does that work? How does that work within our athletics department? How does that work, amongst our schools? So it's there's a lot of things that we never would have thought about as coaches, and that 5-10 years ago that you're like, probably I need to spend as much or more time on now than the coaching part of it. That's like not necessarily how our brains were always wired, or what you always thought about, coming up through the coaching world. You
talked about how good we have it here at the University of Maine when it comes to Maine men's ice hockey, and you knew a lot about UMaine hockey before coming here, but there's many different aspects to Division I coaching, whether it be Maine women's basketball, or men's ice hockey. Part of it is hobnobbing and meeting and greeting with the fans. You seem to enjoy that.
Well, for us, a lot of that is with the the fundraising piece of it. And
he's got it back on.
He's on. There he goes. So I mean, we just are so fortunate, and I'm sure Amy would say the same thing. Like, just you want to be somewhere where the community cares about it, and obviously it's not just hockey. Whether it's women's basketball or men's basketball, football, whatever. But we're in a community where people really care about it, and that's so you feel really fortunate. And when you get a chance to see people in a non-stressful environment, maybe like this, it's kind of nice. It's different than when you see them before or after a game, or even we have our coaches show on Wednesdays during the year, and sometimes you're not always in the best mood depending on how things are going, how practice that. So it's nicer to see them sometimes out in a setting like this. Yeah.
Back on the ice, how would you, taking a step back here to last year, how would you characterize the season?
I think it was just a learning experience. I mean, we had a lot of seniors or guys signed pro after the season 2 years ago that was pretty successful, and so we knew there was going to be we were going to have a lot of new players, and then we had all these rule changes where we had 3 leagues in Canada that had never been eligible to us. That changed last year too. So we took some of those players, dabbled a bit, and then you're paying your players in certain aspects. So it almost feels like you learned a lot. It almost feels like it was just, it never happened. It almost, a lot of the, and we knew probably a couple weeks into the season, even in the summer, we're like, ooh, this is going to be, this is going to be a challenge, because we didn't get to know everybody that was, some of these, newly eligible players. And it's not, they weren't bad kids or anything. Like, it was just, it wasn't the right fit. And if you don't have the right fit, then you're fighting things all season. So it almost just feels like, okay, we knew that's what that is now. We know what that is. We know, the mistakes that we made. We know the things we did right, and it's just trying to get back to your fundamentals, I guess, and as far as your recruiting and who you're bringing into your program. And we've always done that a certain way, and then there were so many changes last year, so you're taking some chances, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, well, did we get anywhere last year? Well, at least we learned some stuff.
Yeah.
And
we did gain some ground and
knowledge.
And
we by no means
experience.
was it a successful season or anything like that compared to maybe the previous two, but we got to at least use the knowledge that we got.
Yep. The word culture is thrown around a lot. I've heard you use it before. How would you describe the culture that you want with UMaine hockey?
We're pretty. I'm a pretty intense guy when it comes to on the ice.
We've seen it.
And, so it's. You have to find the right players that really enjoy that, and and if you do, then it just almost kind of runs itself, and it just builds and snowballs the right way, and it's great, or it snowballs the wrong way when you don't necessarily have the right, where you see a few guys in the corner in the fetal position or something, and you're going, oh boy, that's not, so we're trying not to be. Nothing's personal. Not. It just becomes we want guys that want to be pushed all the time, and we're pushing each other as coaches all the time. I'm pushing administrators. They're pushing me. So it's like that. It's not a negative thing. That's a really positive thing.
Feed off it.
You feed off of it. So we're, I guess that's kind of the culture we're trying to have. Where we always want to get more. We always want to get better. And when you do that, the wins and losses usually just kind of are a result of the process of that.
Happen organically.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Brooks has a headset on. Now, Brooks is the elder statesman amongst the Barr children. You have a pair. You have the 5-year-old twins.
Yes. Yep.
And Brooks, how does he get along with those twins?
Brooks is a very good older brother.
So that's a good example.
Yep. Sometimes he and his younger brother Griffin, we have to break them up. It's like WWE wrestling sometimes, but I think that's pretty normal, right, buddy? Can you talk into the thing? You want to say something?
Just say hi.
Okay.
No,
all right.
Someday
he'll get there someday.
We pushed the envelope.
Yeah. He's a great older brother, and he helps mom and dad.
Now he looks like an athlete. What sports is Brooks in?
He's into soccer. He's into hockey. He's pretty big into the sports. And his haircut is he's got a sweet new haircut. Right now, too. So what do we call that, buddy?
It's very soccerish.
It is very soccerish. Yeah, he knows what it is. He just doesn't like me to talk
So is
about
he
it.
into the World Cup and USA Soccer?
He is. He was actually big into. He likes. Who's your favorite player? Can you say that? Ronaldo's his favorite player. So they're out now. Portugal's out. So he's on to Spain, I guess.
Okay.
So,
close by.
Yeah.
Next door neighbors.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, good news for
Ben,
Brooks. Spain just won 2-1 against Belgium.
Spain won 2-1 over Belgium.
They just beat Belgium, dude.
Look at Brooks. He is
heading on to the semis to take on France, the two remaining favorites in the tournament.
This is the voice in the.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know we had a voice in the sky there. We got it.
Just the voice of God back here, Ben.
Mark Paulette's back there. Okay, good to hear you, Mark.
Just voice of God back here for you, Ben. Don't worry about it. Good to check in with you, too.
Right on.
All right, Ben, if you're kicking around, we're probably going to have you on briefly. Well, not as long as this appearance here, but I've been told you're staying for 2 hours. But you told me that you and Brooks may have concocted a little plan that Brooks might throw a tantrum and that you'd have to leave.
Are you going to be good?
Because he can't have a...
All right, he's going to be good as long as he gets another.
And there's still hope
that
we can get him on. We can get him on mic.
Yeah, maybe we will, but I'll be around.
All right, all right, Ben. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, enjoy the rest of the day here at Heroes. Ben Barr, UMaine hockey coach, joining us. Did I say Heroes? We're at Freshies. We do a lot of remotes at Heroes, but we are at Freshies on our Hammond Street in Bangor, 1105 Hammond Street. Come on out. Got an outstanding store. Had a chance to walk in there. First of all, it's nice and cool, but it's very expansive, and they got everything you could need for the upcoming weekend. We got gas here. We got a car wash. And, of course, we got the prize wheel here for this special UMaine athletic event. All kinds of great prizes. We got Freshies whoopie pies. If you're in the area, stop on by and say hi to Coach Amy Vachon, Coach Ben Barr. They are here as well. and they are happy to meet and greet you, and you get a chance to win a great prize as well. The drive is brought to you by Bangor Window Shade and Drapery, offering custom blinds, shades, drapery, and outdoor awnings. Bangor Window Shade, 105 Main Street in Bangor. And we're also brought to you by Madden Generator Services, with expert installation, dependable maintenance, and a free 7-year warranty on new Generac installs. They'll keep your home in the game. Call 951-4668. Madden Generator Services. Power you can count on. Don't want to lose the power today if you want to stay cool. And if you're stuck on the side of the road, Union Street Towing has you covered 24/7 statewide. From breakdowns to lockouts, they'll get you moving fast. Call 942-4200. That's Union Street Towing. Driven to be there when you need them the most. That is going to do it for the roughly first half of the show. We'll take a time out. Mark and I will be back at the, close to the beginning of the drive at 5. Went a little long in that first hour, but happy to be joined by
like
Amy Vachon.
Go ahead. We're running up on the All-Star break in baseball, but it's the unofficial first half, because we're already beyond 81. We're at 90, 92. That's just what we're doing today.
Yeah, we're just following suit here with Major League Baseball. But stay tuned here. We got the dry poll coming up. We'll have a little more Red Sox talk. Mark gave us the update a short time ago. The Red Sox actually landing finally in New York. They'll be taking on the Mets tonight. 6:15, the pregame. They haven't changed the game time, right, Mark?
Not that I've seen as of yet.
Okay, the Mets probably wouldn't be. They said that's not our problem. Pregame show at 6:15, first pitch at 7:15. Sonny Gray, 10-1. Still crazy to look at those numbers for Gray. 10-1, 2.61 ERA. That would bring some prospects back, you would think.
Atlanta's looking at him. Atlanta's sniffing around.
Wow, that makes great sense for the Braves, who still have the best. No, the Dodgers have the best record in baseball now.
Yeah, Dodgers have taken it.
But the Braves have been right there, so that would make a lot of sense for the Atlanta team. And then we get to watch Chris Sale and Sonny Gray, a couple of former Red Sox with the Braves, see how far they go in the postseason. All right, so we will step aside, back with more of the drive from Freshies on Outer Hammond Street in Bangor.